I'm Matti Kohonen from the Tax Justice Network, and we actually got started as a network in 2002 at the European Social Forum in Florence. And our network got started because we were concerned about tax evasion, tax havens, and the amount of money lost in illicit financial flows. But that issue wasn't part of civil society's work at the time. So we were a group of activists and students, and also experts who came to Florence at that time. Ever since, we've organized our work through the World Social Forum, and we've had our constitutive elections at Belém World Social Forum. We started our African Tax Justice Network Africa in Nairobi during the Nairobi World Social Forum. And this time here in Dakar, we're having elections to choose our new board and to discuss our new strategy. So I believe the Tax Justice Network is among one of the networks which organizes itself around the World Social Forum, and it organizes not just the members, but we also organize a lot of our networking and interlinking with other people here. And it really makes the forum's other program also very important, not just that we attend the forum, which we do, because we're launching a tax advocacy toolkit, and we're launching Tax As If You Can in Africa, a report here. You can't tax anyone in Africa, but we'll try anyway. And it gives us an opportunity to discuss to new publics here. We expect about 50,000 people at the forum, so we're expecting that we'll be able to broaden our scope of our public with these publications here. But at the same time, we elect our own representatives for the board and our new strategy. So that really adds value of doing both things at the forum. And we're not the only network that does this. I know the International Alliance of Inhabitants, I think, has their elections and their assemblies at the forum, and a lot of other networks also. So in a sense, the World Social Forum is becoming a proto-world parliament, would you like. Different networks discuss their strategies and here. And it's not just the 50,000 people who attend, but it's also all of that value added, which I think is really important with the forum.
People comment about the forum being just a total shop and a waste of energy and funds. Bringing people from everywhere in the world has a considerable cost.
Yeah.
And that cost might not be justified. But you seem to suggest that perhaps the cost is justified if it brings people together who are able to interact with colleagues from within the same networks and with other networks.
Yeah.
So it seems almost as though you're making a point that is in fact an efficient way of using resources by concentrating everyone in the same place, which allows them to interact across networks, but also to each individual being able to do several
their own thing. I think we do add a lot of value by being here as many as we are. If we were to organize our AGM of Tax Justice Network, let's say in Brussels, we'd bring there maybe 40 people around the world, and then that would be it. I think we'd be hugely wasting our airline tickets and hotel costs. But here in Dakar, if we're able to not only have our elections and function our association, but also to launch a series of reports to talk to new publics. I think that's the forum is one big value, is that we can talk to new publics, teachers, trade unionists from the region and from Senegal in particular. And the forum being in different locations, I would say that the number of people who participate in at least one forum is in millions now. And that public who've been through that experience will want to come back and say, well, what's happening with those people who we saw in Bamako in 2006 or in Porto Alegre in 2002? So it creates a bit of an identity of being part of a bigger movement as well. And I think that's important, that we educate citizens in this way.
Some people suggest that this might be waning away, this experience might be waning away, that perhaps what you're talking about is not felt broadly. Talking to your colleagues and friends and network members and others that you meet at the forums, do you get the feeling that there is some sort of fatigue in the forum?
Maybe there's a bit of fatigue in the key organizers of the forum. We've already going towards the 10th or the 11th, depends how you count it. But we, as a network, we always bring new people to the forum. So, for instance, this time out of the delegation, I'm sure half of them are newcomers to the forum. and also the public who we reach, the Senegalese, and they may not have attended another forum before. So I think the forum should maybe establish some of its own procedures on how they organize a forum, make it slightly less stressful, so that the key organizers would also be kept on board. But we do see a great value in having the forum for our work.
One other hat that you wear at these events is that as a NIGD chair and coordinator.
Yeah.
And NIGD has been focusing throughout key
Yeah.
actor in funding the forum itself, and at the same time working to expose issues of democracy, to discuss issues of democracy. But another thing that NIGD has done throughout is organizing these events on the future of the forum.
That's right, yes.
I wonder if you have any thoughts about the future of the forum. I don't want to take you too far in the future,
But in the near future of the
Right.
forum, I think the forum is becoming an institution a bit more, which is not a bad thing. And people expect certain institutional characteristics of the forum, such as having minutes which are open, and having the process of organizing and how the programs and how the forum itself comes together to be a bit more transparent. It's funny that we sometimes have to ask about those things from the forum. I think if you look in the future, there's a great value in the thematic forums, and I think there'll be more and more of them. And the World Social Forum could remain a biannual gathering of, I think, not just the individuals, but really the networks of the networks. And I think that adds an enormous amount of value for the forum, that the Tax Justice Network can meet with the International Alliance of Inhabitants and with the Global Campaign for Education. And those, when you put them together, you get an element which I would say global democracy, of if anything is possible in today's world. And democracy costs money. And it does cost the money to bring people together. But if we're able to bring that element of movements into the forum, that's hugely valuable. And I think it can put enormous amount of pressure on politicians to do something else than talking in their talk shops. That's the real waste of money, to be honest.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks.